Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Today's webinar is focused on internships and career opportunities at Palo Alto Networks. My name is Brianna Sloan, and I'm the Alumni Relations Manager for the Cristo Rey Network. Foremost, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today and just to hear about more opportunities that the global cybersecurity company Palo Alto Networks has to offer and the experiences you could expect there. Today, several panelists from an array of departments will be discussing with you all their experiences working at Palo Alto, and at the end, they will give you an opportunity to ask questions. So feel free to jot any notes down as we go. Or you can type your questions in the chat. Again, thank you for all our guests and presenters for sharing your experience and expertise today with us. We really appreciate it. So yeah, also this webinar will be recorded as we are aware, and it will be available on our alumni site after the session is over. So if there's any information you feel you might have missed or that would be important for you to know, you can access it on our site. So yeah, I'll let our amazing speakers take control now and tell you more about some of these opportunities, and feel free to share your screen and get starting when you're ready. And just a reminder to our guests, please be mindful of your microphone as our presenters are speaking. And if you're able to share your camera, we certainly invite you to do so now.
Okay, I think I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you guys can see it. Cool. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and skip over that. So thank you for coming to today's session. So this is the Cristo Rey info session where we're going to be talking about internships and careers at Palo Alto Networks. Before we go into introductions, we're going to just have a really brief agenda for today. So we're going to start off by, giving you guys an overview of the company culture, and then also give a high-level overview of the intern and new grad program. And then we will also be hearing from our panelists that we brought in today, and then, leave some time at the end for any questions. But with that, we'll just start with introduction. So I'm Jackie. I'm one of the early talent recruiters here at Palo Alto Networks. I primarily focus on go-to-market recruiting. So anything from pre-sales, so anything like our SE Academy or BDR Academy, I typically recruit for. I've been with the company for about 2 years now, and it's been super fun. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I'll go ahead and hand it off to Kyla.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyla. I am currently an intern at Palo Alto Networks. I was actually a Cristo Rey alum myself. I graduated in 2018 at Cristo Rey San Jose, and so it's a really great opportunity for me to be here today and just talk about this internship because I've had a lot of fun being on the intern team at Palo Alto Networks, and so I just wanted to share with you all some of the exciting things that are happening here at PAN. So we'll just quickly get into who Palo Alto Networks is. So Palo Alto Networks is a cybersecurity company, and our vision is to have a world where each day is safer and more secure than the one before. And so a concrete example of this is our Unit 42 team located in Reston, Virginia. They are dedicated to threat research, and they research the newest trends in cybersecurity and will publish blogs for the world to see. And so we don't want to keep this information internal because we want to make sure that everyone is staying safe in this digital age that we live in. And our mission is to be the cybersecurity partner of choice, protecting our digital way of life. And so for this, a lot of the things that we're doing is partnering with a whole bunch of different Fortune 100 companies as customers. And this is really important to us because we strive to be this partner of choice. And now I'll be passing it off to Jackie to talk more about some internship opportunities at Palo Alto Networks.
Cool. Awesome. And then this is just some quick company information. This slide is a little bit outdated. We have about 10,000 employees now. I think that was our latest hiring number. But yeah, in the time that I've been here for 2 years, we've grown significantly. I think when I first started, there was only about 6,500 employees that we've had. So, just in a short amount of time, we've grown significantly. We also have 39 countries with office locations and also service more than 65 countries as well. And then just going to go over our company values really quick. So we won't go through all of these, but here are our 5 values that we have for the company. I'll highlight one. So a big one for us is disruption. So pretty much what this means is just challenging the status quo. If we definitely believe in failing fast to fail forward. So definitely believe in that philosophy to kind of get things done and just be disruptive in our everyday life. And then I'll quickly highlight our LEAP new grad program. So LEAP is basically our umbrella term for all the new grad roles that we have. Within LEAP, we do have academy tracks. So we have things like our SE Academy, which we'll hear from later on, as well as our BDR Academy, which is sales specific, our PMA Academy, which is more, for product marketing, and then our Unit 42 Academy, which is mainly for consulting. But the purpose of these academies are to provide you the functional training that you need to succeed in your roles. But that doesn't say that, or that doesn't go to say that we don't hire outside of those roles as well. So, we'll have one-off positions that are, in marketing or GCS or anything like that. But for the most part, those roles typically come from intern conversions. And that's another really good point to make for this LEAP program as well, is that our pipeline for our new grad program really comes from our intern program, which I will go over next. And then, LEAP itself really does provide just the functional training, like I mentioned earlier, but also a sense of community that the grads need as they are transitioning from school to work. And then our intern program. So we also have internships that are available at the company as well. So our intern program is 12 weeks. We do have a range of different kinds of positions that we typically hire for, all the way from sales to engineering. This summer, we had a pretty robust program. We had about 200 interns start, and you are working day to day with your teams, but we also really provide that community aspect as well. So we'll do a lot of fun things like intern events or speaker series throughout the summer to kind of keep you guys engaged, in addition to the work that you'd be doing with your teams. But yeah, like I mentioned, it is a really good pipeline for our LEAP program. And this is where we get a lot of our candidates that end up funneling up into our full-time positions. And then just really quickly going over, the company culture again. I mean, tying it back to LEAP, we're really trying to create like an inclusive environment for our grads to thrive in. So, just kind of going back to, our values of inclusion and really making sure that everybody feels, a part of something while they're here. And then, just kind of going back to this whole idea of inclusion and diversity as well. And then another thing that I wanted to mention was our employee network group. So we have employee network groups in the company. They kind of work similarly to clubs on campus. So we'll have things like Early in Career or the Women's Network, or things like Ujima and Innovation and Juntos. But the purpose of, or like the cool thing about these is that they are employee led. So, we'll have fun happy hours or what's it called, like volunteer events and stuff like that, that these ENGs will lead. So a really good way to kind of network with people outside of your teams, but also being a part of something bigger. All right, and then I'll hand it back to Kyla to lead the panel.
So today we have 4 awesome people who are coming in to be our panelists. And so I'll pass it off to Alicia first to introduce herself, her role at Palo Alto Networks, and her journey to get to this role.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyla. Hi, everyone. My name is Alicia Solis. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am a talent development specialist at Palo Alto Networks. I've been on the talent development team for just about over a year now, full-time, but I did intern on that team for 2 years before I actually came back and joined as a full-time employee. And also the talent development team does fall under the people team. So I am in a non-tech role. So if anyone does have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, next we have Sama.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sama Manchanda. I am an associate consultant with Unit 42 at Palo Alto Networks. And so my job includes digital forensics and incident response, which is kind of a mouthful, but it's when you hear about ransomware, you hear about all the cybercrime in the news. I'm part of a team that goes in and investigates what happened on the system and how an attacker maybe got in, what they did they take any data, all that kind of good stuff. So I attended USC and graduated with a degree in intelligence and cyber operations, and I've now been here working in this role for about a year now.
Awesome. Next up, we have Dewani.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dewani Cotter, and I'm an associate system engineer here at Palo Alto Networks. I graduated from CU Boulder out in Colorado with my degree in computer science with a focus in cybersecurity. And I've been at the company for about a year now, a year as of last week. And before this role, I did intern at the company the summer before in 2019 in professional services, which is post-sale. However, for me, it worked out better to work in this role because it gave me the opportunity to learn about the technology a little bit more and understand more about the different products that we do have. And so what we do as part of the SC Academy is what we call it, is spend about 18 months, I think it is, to really rev up our skills in terms of what products we have and how to pitch the products to other customers and other companies and be able to sell to different kinds of markets based on the products that we have already. And so, yeah, it's kind of a bit about me, and I'll pass it on to Cordell, who's the same thing.
Yeah, so my name is Cordell Flores. Like Dwayne said, we are on the same team, so I'm also an associate systems engineer. When I graduated from college, I graduated with a degree in computer science from the University of Denver. Before I came to Palo, I actually worked in development for 3 years while I was in college. And so I feel like that really helped, gear me up for this type of job. As Dwayne said, also part of the academy and really just learning a lot. And we will eventually be customer facing. A lot of us are starting to become customer facing at this point to kind of explain some of the technologies to potential customers like Dwayne mentioned. So that's me.
Great. Well, thank you for those wonderful introductions. So we're just going to jump right into some of the initial questions that I had for you all. The first question being, what do you like about your role?
Are we going in the same order?
It can be a free for all. Whoever wants to answer could just jump right in.
Dwani, do you want to go?
Yeah, I was just about to say I'll jump on that. I think about this role, which I really value, is that it kind of gives me the nice balance between my people skills and also technical skills. And so, I'm not a developer hiding behind a computer all day, just, clicking away, writing code. But at the same time, I'm not in front of people all day. I get to use the skills that I learned in college and the technologies that I studied and not necessarily implement them, but see how they were implemented to help somebody. And so kind of having that balance between both customer facing and also understanding the technical side of things is a good mix for me personally to have both fronts of that.
I can piggyback off that and just say some of the things that I enjoy about my job is when you're an associate systems engineer, you kind of take on different roles depending on the customer you're speaking with, right? You can kind of be a teacher that teaches about the technology, but you can also be like the buddy that the other person on the line just wants to talk tech with you. They might have a deeper understanding of your products. Maybe they've already used the product beforehand. They just want a deeper understanding or just to talk tech. So sometimes you'll take kind of more that role where you just feel like you're kind of a buddy talking to, someone else that knows the tech pretty well. And so I think the malleability of the role is something that's big for me, just because I don't always feel like I'm just lecturing or teaching. I always have something different. It also makes you stay on your toes because you're always going into calls, expecting one thing and something else is going to happen. So definitely always on your toes, and it makes the job interesting.
I can go unless someone wants to go, but I think for me, what I like most about my role, and I realize I didn't really talk about it, so I can explain it a little bit now. But basically, as a talent development specialist, my team does internal trainings. We do our e-learning system, which is called FlexLearn. I personally run our mentorship program at Palo Alto Networks, as well as the Leap Learning Strategy. So the grad program that Jackie was talking about, I help build professional development trainings and facilitate those for our grad students like us. And I think what I like about my role is that every day is changing. Nothing is the same, and every day is filled with lots of different meetings, lots of different meeting new people, and lots of experience. I definitely can say before I started this, public speaking was one of my biggest fears, and I feel like finally, after a year of getting more comfortable with it, I finally feel like even doing something like this, I'm not nervous, which is amazing. So I think anytime, even outside of this role, you can get an opportunity that kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone, definitely take it. And if that involves an internship or full-time offer, definitely do it. Highly recommend.
So for me, there's a couple of different things I think that are hard to pick what's my favorite, but just in like, I guess right off the bat with the actual role itself, the really cool thing about it, again, digital forensics incident response is a constantly changing field. As new technology comes out, new threats come out, ransomware and threat actors are forever changing their strategies and keeping me on my toes, even on weekends and holidays. So, but one of the really cool things that comes with that though, is that I'm constantly learning. It's never like, no 2 weeks are the same, no 2 days are the same. I'm constantly being staffed on different types of cases, different engagements, working with different teams, different people, and, you know, dealing with different clients. And I think the really cool thing about that is, you know, I like to think of it as like we kind of come in on like a client's like darkest day where they're like, oh, you know, we've been hit by all this ransomware, we've been hit by all these things, like things are, you know, really bad, really tough. And it's really cool kind of like being able to come in and sort of reassure them and be like, okay, you know, like I totally get what you're going through. And you know what, like we're gonna, you know, work together and try and get you as like, you know, to where you need to be, or, you know, at least help you figure out and get some answers. So that's, I think the really, you know, that's one really, really cool part about the job. My other favorite part of the job is definitely the people I work with. So the people like on my team and just at Unit 42 in general, I don't think I've come across someone who's like not supportive and not helpful with, especially with coming to like, you know, answering questions. We're all kind of dealing with things on the fly and like across different clients, different caseworks. We'll try and like, you know, coordinate and like, you know, share notes or share, you know, leads and tips like that. And I think, you know, no question is also like a dumb question, which is really nice. And that really helped me learn a lot when I first joined. And so I really like that that's kind of like been the culture throughout, even though, you know, we went through an acquisition and everything too. And despite all of that, I think everything stayed pretty positive and, you know, people were still great before, after, during the whole thing.
Great. Well, that was such an amazing response from all of you guys. It really seems like, you know, the interchangeability and, you know, doing different things at work has been a really positive influence on you all. Right now, I'm just going to open up the floor to anyone else who might have a question that they want to ask. You can either come off mute and say it out loud, or if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. All right. Well,
I can ask
I
one.
was prepared in case. Oh, you have one?
Yeah, I can ask a question. So
Okay.
Alicia, you are the talent development specialist. Like, how do you find yourself in the position, and what experiences like led you to where you are?
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. I think actually my involvements in college is really what led me to this position. I got lucky enough that I got the internship in the talent development department after my second year of college, going into my junior year. And I also really believe that I was super involved in orientation in college all 4 years. I really loved it. And that was where I found my community and my passion. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give really is in college, wherever you go, you know, just find a community of something that you love and a passion. And I think it can really bring you so much more growth. I always felt like when I was doing my involvements in that, I learned so much more than I did in the classroom. And I think it really just transformed my journey. And I took so much into my full-time role as well from that. So, yeah.
Thanks. And Sama, a question for you. What types of interests and skills would help a person be successful in your position?
So that's a really great question. I think the big thing is being curious and kind of being willing to learn. There's a lot of things that, especially with this field, it's constantly changing, and a lot of these skills are really hard to learn in a traditional classroom, especially like kind of as you, there's also just so many things going on in cyber, and there's so many different like parts of it, so many things going on. But just kind of having a, curiosity of like how things work and like a desire to learn more, that like really goes a long way, more than any technical skill will. A lot of the things, you can do a lot of self-learning. You can, if you have programs or, classes in college and things like that, those are super helpful too. I'm not saying that, but just having a drive to learn and, a willingness to sort of like make things work and figure it out goes, I think, a longer way than any, classroom learning does.
And for the associate systems engineers, I just have a question, like, what is the working conditions like of your job? Like, do you do a lot of paperwork versus people work, or inside versus outside? Like, what does your day-to-day kind of task look like for that?
I can speak on that a little bit. So in the first couple months, a lot of it is learning. It's going to be video learning that, you're just watching videos all day, trying to learn about our products. We have quite a lot, and we always have acquisitions that are happening. I think we had like 4 in the last year as well. So that means that even when you're done with the academy, you're still learning. So this is something that, we've kind of agreed to take on as we continue our journey in Palo. Then once you start to learn those products and you're better with them, so there's like a fly like around me. Once you get used to the products and know the products a little bit better, you're eventually going to be a lot more customer facing, and you're going to kind of show and talk to those products. Oh my God, I'm going to talk to those products with the customer so that they can understand those products more as well. And ultimately, the goal is to maybe sell them on the product a little bit from a technical perspective. But all alongside, you're also still learning, making sure you know all of the technical things that you need to know for each one of those presentations. And in the academy specifically, you're also going to do these presentations to your managers just to assure them that you're ready to take the next step. And so that's kind of a little bit about what the day-to-day is. Kind of a lot of calls, I would say, expect like 10 to 20 calls a day, or not a day, a week with customers. And then after that, you always want to send follow-up emails and make sure that, the customer feels like they are being listened to and appreciated as well. So just a little bit of both, right? Both customer soft skills, but also technical hard skills where you have to, really dive deep into some of the technical things.
And is there like any classes that you would find most helpful for preparing you for that, or and like especially in your track or outside of your track that you wish you would have taken that would have kind of helped you prepare?
Well, when we're here, there's a lot of like lead classes that you attend. As far as like classes before this, I think it would have been good, at least for me. I didn't have a real strong cybersecurity background. So it would have been beneficial for me to probably look into some more cybersecurity related things. One class that helped me a lot when I came to Palo that I took in college was a networking class. So, we are a cybersecurity company, but a lot of our products are put on networks and delivered through, networks. And so we kind of have to know a lot about different network terms. And so I think if there's some advice I can give younger me would be to really try to pay attention in the networking class, and maybe even take more classes around networking to really solidify that understanding.
Great. Well, it looks like we have someone raising their hand. Anna, do you want to come off mute and ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so my name is Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm based in Chicago. I graduated from Cristo Rey in 2014. And my question is regarding kind of like non-traditional journeys. I've been on a non-traditional journey. Started out as an education major, and then did a career development program called Year Up in Chicago. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with it. And within that program, I did project management, and then did an internship at a tech company where I was more of a product analyst, but I did do a little bit of business analysis, data analysis. So I've picked up some good skill sets, and I've been doing apprenticeships. So my question is, like, I guess where my experience could fit in at a cybersecurity at Palo Alto Network, because I'm currently transitioning into a cybersecurity degree program. So I don't necessarily have like cybersecurity experience. I am doing a boot camp to kind of like ramp up on those terms, those concepts like networking and security fundamentals. So I guess my question is like where I could fit in. I'd love to intern at Palo Alto and kind of just get my feet wet in that field.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Dwani.
Sorry. So I would say it's almost open-ended as an answer, because it's up to you to choose where you want to go with that, because there are different opportunities in the company of different paths you want to take based on your interest. Your major or your field doesn't necessarily limit you to where you go in cybersecurity. I've definitely seen, developers that had stats degrees or they had psychology degrees and now are working in tech. And so I think when you start getting into that cybersecurity program that you're, start learning about, that'll give you a lot more exposure into what kinds of cybersecurity you want to go into, whether it's more technical side or something a little more high level, and kind of go from there. I mean, we do have great internships for like project management as well, if that's like something you want to go towards, and a C role, definitely that. But I think the biggest thing you can do is read up on the job description itself and see what it's doing. And, worst case scenario, apply to everything and see what you get, because that's kind of what I did. Even for my internship in professional services, I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I knew I needed to get my foot through the door, because this is a great company. And even though that internship wasn't what I ended up doing full time, it was enough exposure for me to know that this is the company that I love and these are the people that I want to work with. And so really, I would say if you can't narrow down kind of what you want to apply for, kind of go for everything and then let the universe decide for you. But Jackie, I'll let you answer more on your perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Dwani. Yeah, just to tag off, what Dwani was saying, I definitely feel like the really cool thing about Palo Alto Networks is that we are open, right? Like I didn't come from a cybersecurity background, like not even a technical background, but I still ended up here. I feel like when you come to a company like this, it's a lot of learning at first, but eventually you do pick it up. But we don't necessarily look for those things beforehand, especially if it's for a role in like marketing or HR or anything like that. Like we don't ask you for that experience right off the bat. Obviously, with our engineering teams and stuff like that, it is a little bit more different. But for the most part, we are open in terms of like being open to different kinds of experiences and backgrounds when we're looking at candidates that apply to our roles. In terms of, what you're looking to get into, I mean, you mentioned a business analyst role or like a product management kind of role. Like Dwani mentioned, we have those here. It's just a matter of like, if that's something that you want to pursue, right? Like you can always kind of cater your resume and cater your experience to any position, right? So it's just a matter of deciding on what path you want to take and then taking the steps to kind of like tailor your resume, talk to the right people. I think a huge thing at Palo Alto Networks and something that we tell our interns all the time is that networking is definitely key, right? Like you never know where you're going to end up in the world. And with technology these days, like the world has become a lot smaller. So, just making connections and kind of just talking to different types of people, see what they do in their day-to-day job, right? And see if that's something that's in line with what you like want to pursue as well. But yeah, that's kind of just my perspective, like, from like the early talent side, just some advice for you when you're kind of navigating your path after college.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, that was an awesome question, Anna. Kept us on our toes with the answers. I wanted to pivot the conversation and ask about, beyond the work, Jackie had mentioned the ENGs, employee network groups that are at Palo Alto Networks. So I had a question for our panelists to see, are you involved in those employee network groups, and how has that created a sense of community for you at Palo Alto Networks?
I know we have a lot of ENG leaders on the call, but I'm happy to start. So we do have our employee network groups, which are amazing. I highly recommend, if you do ever get an internship, or if you get a full-time offer, definitely look into those right away. I think joining that right off the bat, in addition to LEAP, was so awesome for me personally. I think leaving college, leaving communities that we've built over the past 4 or however many years can be difficult. And I think having some sort of community at work really helps with that transition. I know for me specifically, I'm involved in EIC. I decided to try for a leadership position in EIC, I think around February, and I got it, which was super exciting. I think I just missed having a leadership role because that's just something I'm very passionate about. So I think it's awesome because really you can get involved right off the bat, that we're, inclusive to everyone and open. So I think it's great because you can really just get some leadership experience right from the start of your journey. But I think what's cool about the ENGs is there's a lot of collaboration. So you can meet lots of different people that you would meet outside of your teams. And it's just really easy to, have something else to look forward to at work. Like, for example, if there's a coffee chat going on, or maybe there's a virtual event, like we've had escape rooms, we've had cooking classes, we've done lots of different things. And it's just something else to look forward to in your day to day. But I'll pass it over to Dewani or Cordell, because I know you both are involved in lots of other ones too.
Yeah, I think for me, ENGs have been a good support network to have while I've been working here. And so either if things are slow at work, which rarely happens, or, I want to dip my feet into somewhere else or networking, I've always turned towards having those ENGs there. So like Alicia was saying, early in career has been a good place to set up events and, help people get back into the office, and people that are new to the company get arranged. I've also been taking on a leadership role for women's network community. And so for WNC, we've been working on trying to get more women in tech. And then innovation's been huge as well. I myself am Indian. And so, when Diwali or the Festival of Lights, if these big festivals come around, it's great to know that my heritage is being celebrated and I'm being valued as an employee outside of, just my work, but my culture is. And so being a part of these environments have definitely been super supportive to have. I'm also helping out in the LGBTQIA plus community. And so even though I'm just an ally, it's been nice to see, different communities working well together and the different events that they have and how they intertwine with different events that they coordinate. And so, it's a good way to stay engaged with people in the office, but also outside of the office. Like there's people that I'd go and grab lunch with, even though we're not on the same team, because I've met them because of these programs. So yeah, definitely, I know I'm going on a spiel here, but definitely would advise going into one of the employee network groups if you can.
Awesome. All right, let me pull up my list of questions. The next question that I had for you all is, what is one thing that like Palo Alto has done that you really appreciate, like within the last, during like the time of the pandemic? We've been in this remote environment. And so like, how has Palo Alto supported you throughout this huge transition that we've all been going through for the last year and a half?
Yeah, I can take that one. So one of the really big things that I felt really showed the culture and what to expect from Palo was, if you're inside the office, they give you things like snacks and provide drinks and stuff like that. And since all of us are working remote, they decided that instead of, spending money on those types of things, we're saving money by not, having you guys go into the office. We're going to go ahead and give you guys a quarterly it's like $250 every quarter to spend on those same benefits that you're missing out in the office, right? And so like at headquarters, I know I think they might have like a gym or something. So you can go ahead and use that $250 to spend it like on, gym equipment at home or a gym membership, or you can spend it on, there's a bunch of things that you could spend it on, but essentially, it really showed me that they're not so worried about, saving money. There's a lot of companies out there right now that you're not going to the office, so they're just saving money. And Paulo was more so worried about taking care of their employees and giving back that money to their employees and making sure that they are set. So I really appreciated that.
I think for me, I think just kind of echo what Cordell was saying. That was definitely like super nice, I will say. I think also just like I think one of the other cool things was like kind of having the flexibility to choose between going back to the office, staying at home, and everyone kind of getting a chance to decide what works best for them. I feel like just kind of not putting everyone in the same box, I thought was really nice. And just I know a lot of people, especially, from people that I work with every day, everyone kind of deals with different types of situations at home. People have a lot of things kind of going on, and, just because they're not like kind of apparent immediately doesn't mean that, having the option to kind of choose and, it's not like, okay, I have to pick and I have to go in 5 days a week, or I have to be remote all 5 days a week. I can pick, okay, maybe 1 week things are a little hectic at home and, there's a lot of stuff going on. I can work from home a few days and then go in a few days and kind of each week take things as they go. And I think that's kind of like representative of how they've sort of taken the whole pandemic and this whole year, is that like, okay, we'll sort of reassess, we'll see how things are going, but we're not gonna, stick, one set of rules onto everybody, and knowing that and kind of being accepting that everyone's situation is different and letting everyone sort of decide for themselves. I thought that was really cool.
I'll add one more thing.
Great.
If no one else wants
Oh.
to. Sorry. The last thing I'll add is that as we're all working remote, they allowed us to go ahead and reimburse our like internet bill and our phone bill. And, it's not a ton of money or anything, but it is a ton, especially when you do it for every employee. But it's also just a small gesture that I appreciated more, because it's like, I feel like even if I'm, small in comparison to the company, not a huge role or anything, they still care about us as well. So make us feel important.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess I'll say the last thing here, but I know for me last year, as I was starting this role and, the height of the pandemic, when it was first getting started, I was really nervous if this role was going to still be present, because, a lot of people were getting laid off. I hadn't started my work yet. So I thought, like some of my friends, I might not have my job. And so I really valued that Palo Alto Networks didn't make any cuts in terms of employees. They kept everybody, and they were really flexible if people needed to take time off or get things adjusted. And so I think it was really awesome to see that they cared about me, even though I hadn't started yet, and were willing to retain me and give me the skills to start working. And also the unlimited PTO is also a plus. So, I definitely take advantage of that when I can. And so, yeah, this company's been awesome so far.
I'm also going to add the actual last thing to this question. I think one of my favorite things too that I've seen, especially throughout this past year, is they really promote that flex work. That's one of the biggest key focus points for the company throughout the past year, of everything constantly changing and kind of, no one really knows what's going on, I feel like, a lot of the time. But there's been so much flexibility. I know Cordell was talking about flex benefits, and Salma was talking about how, you really can work from wherever you need, whenever you need. And I think especially also they have continued lots of professional development events and social events throughout. Definitely different departments had their own things going on, but I've seen, throughout the past year, especially our remote workers, they've felt more included, just because of the ability to go on Zoom and keep up those events throughout. So I think they've done a really great job of making sure that that's still a priority, is that we do have things outside of our day-to-day roles to look forward to. And I just wanted to mention that too. So
Yeah, flex work is totally awesome, and the benefits that you get with the reimbursements. Even myself, like as an intern, I was able to get $250 reimbursed spent for office equipment. And so it's like you all were saying, it's the little things like that that really go to show like how much town is supporting you, like in this remote work. And yeah. All right, so we are down to our last two questions. The first one I'm gonna ask and open it up to all of you is, what is your favorite thing about Palo Alto Networks?
I guess I'll kick it off here.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's definitely the people for me. I don't think I've interacted with anybody that I've just been like, ew, like, I don't want to talk to this person. I think it's always been very awesome and very polite and very nice people that are really nice and wanting to help you out. And so I do think the culture here values your niceness more than your technical skills. And so, if you're honest, you're reliable, you're a good person, they care way more about that than, someone being a complete genius and just locking themselves up. And so I do think the people are the biggest component of Palo Alto Networks and why it works so well. But sorry, Sam, I'll let you go.
I was going to say the same exact thing. So, you know what? Great minds think alike. But no, I think definitely that's very much representative of what I've seen here too. And again, I came from a company that came through an acquisition as well. So, and it was the same kind of culture there. It was the same culture here. And that's something I really appreciated. But yeah, I just the fact that people are always so welcoming and they're so happy to help. I've never felt like I have had some very dumb questions during my time, especially when I started and I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but no one ever made me feel like, oh, wow, oh, what is she doing? Like, she doesn't know anything. Who hired her? But there were definitely moments where I was like, oh my God, I was like, these people probably think I'm dumb, but no one ever made me feel like that. And no one ever was, rude about it or anything. They were always, if anything, they were always, more than happy to help. And they were always like, more questions is better. I mean, people that I interacted with, for casework, maybe just a few times, random people from other parts of the company, always super friendly, always super helpful. Never met a person here that I don't like. So there's that. Yeah.
Well, both of you stole my answer too. So I can go with my second favorite thing about Palo Alto Networks. But I think that is really the autonomy that we get in our roles. I feel like even as an intern and a new grad, I had a lot of autonomy talking to my manager, about what are my passions, what are things that I really want to learn and grow in. And I think my team specifically, but I know I've heard from other people as well, you can really curate, your role and your experience and really make it all that you want to be, which is, I think is so cool, especially the size of the company that we are. So, yeah.
And I think it's only fitting to say that everyone stole my answer first. So, but I still will like to say and add to Dewani and Salma's answer that the culture is really great here. All those little things about them being able to reimburse you for certain things, those add up. We have stuff like Bonusly, where you can kind of give points, like these fake points, to your peers to say, thank you for helping me. Here's 10 points. And then you can later redeem those points for Amazon gift cards, or PayPal, or there's a bunch of different gift cards you can redeem. And I personally done that plenty of times already. And so it's really that culture that makes the company special. You can go somewhere else, get the, probably similar pay, similar people, but at the same time, that company might not care as much as Palo Alto does. I feel like they always include you in things. Like one of my favorite things is the call where we all get together, like the whole company's there, and our CEO comes and talks to everyone about how the quarter went. Even in this last one, he was in the office, so he went and talked to all of the interns. Like he just did like a guest appearance to all of the interns and was asking them questions. And so I feel like just the relationships that Palo makes, even if you're huge, they still try to go out of their way to make you feel important. And the last thing I'll mention is even like management. I feel like I can go and talk to my manager whenever I need to, and they're understanding as well. So yeah, it's great to talk to my peers and have them help me. But I know that manager's always there to help me too, because that is a company-wide understanding that they're always going to be there to help. So
Awesome, you all. All right, so this last question that I have for you, super quick answer. My challenge to you is to answer it in 30 seconds or less. But why should someone apply to work at Palo Alto Networks?
All right, I'll jump on it. If you want to meet good people and be able to network, if you want to be paid well, and you want to be treated, well in a corporate society, this is the place to be. If you're trying to kind of get the best of all the worlds, this is where you want to be. That's all I got.
I'll let you go, Sama. I saw you on mute. I'll let you go.
Okay. So I think for me, I think it's being able to make a difference is a really big thing for me, and being able to work with some really great people.
For me, when I was looking at my future, I know I wanted to work at a company that has a big name, so that I could work at a big company, and it would also help me in the future if I were to ever leave or something. But that was a really big driving force as well. So just having that experience and name on your resume definitely helps.
I think for me, it's one, amazing people, two, incredible opportunities, and no matter where you are in your career, but also just working for a company that has an amazing mission, and cybersecurity truly is making that difference in the world. And you feel that at Palo Alto Networks. So definitely apply.
All right, well, thank you all, Cordell, Salma, Alicia, and Dewani for being here and being our panelists for today and answering all those questions. For those of you who are on the call and are interested, we have the contact information of all of them on this slide right here, and I'll pass it off to Jackie to close us out.
Yeah, so thank you everybody for joining today's call. So I've included all of our contact information here. Like I mentioned, Alicia, Osama, and Dewani and Cordell are all a part of our academies. So if you have questions for them, please feel free to reach out. I can be your point of contact for any recruiting questions. I also have some of my team on here as well. But yeah, thank you, Kyla and Brianna, for organizing this. This was great. I definitely hope that we were able to take away some information from this, and that you were able to learn a little bit more about Palo Alto Networks. But yeah, thank you guys for coming, and we will talk to you later.
Oh, quick ad. If anyone is on the call or is watching this video, we have some swag that we would like to give you. So reach out to Brianna and give her your contact information, and we'll ship some fun things out to you. And yeah, I hope that all of you guys have a great week. Thank you again for being here.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us and sharing your experience. Again, it's really awesome to hear all the really cool work that you guys are doing in the forefront and behind the scenes as well. So for our guests, I will be sending a follow-up, as Kayla kind of mentioned, of a recorded session with the detailed timestamps of all the questions asked. And if there's any lingering questions, feel free to ask me or reach out to Kayla. And then thank you for everyone for joining us again. And I wish everyone luck in the upcoming week.